Welcome back. As you know, I am Eli, the computer guy, here for the Daily Blob, and today we have to talk about the subject I was actually hoping not to talk about. So I've been talking a little bit about the political world currently, simply because it affects those of us in technology. Again, when you jack up the tariffs for Chinese goods by 145%, if you're deploying IoT devices, or if you're simply buying anything that was manufactured in China, this affects you. Is it politics? Is it technology? Yes, right? So I've talked about this. I've talked about Trump trying to chuck 277,000 Chinese students out of the United States. And again, I know a lot of people will say, oh, he's just trying to get rid of enemies of the country. Why are you against that? And again, 277,000 folks spending $41,000 a year on average just for tuition, not including everything else. You throw them out of the country in the blink of an eye. And here's an interesting question. What happens to your computer science program if a chunk of the students are just kicked out, right? So I've been talking a little bit about the political stuff, mainly because it actually really does affect you. But then they've had viewers, and they said, Eli, talk about the Trump versus Musk feud. And originally I saw the Trump versus Musk feud, and I didn't care, right? Okay, Trump is being Trump, Musk is being Musk. They don't like each other anymore. It went from a bromance to a bro-not-mance, right? Again, did not actually think this mattered. But of course, this is the modern world. And whenever you think you can get out of the grips of politics, you will get pulled back in, because now everything has gotten so nasty. There's this whole argument about whether Trump will pull funding for SpaceX. Yeah. And then Elon Musk just started talking about decommissioning the Falcon rockets for SpaceX. Yeah. And that was before we got into Epstein files. And sadly, it does appear that this whole Trump versus Musk thing might actually affect us in the technology world. Again, that's one thing that I want you to really be thinking about as a technology professional, as a technology business owner, is how macro forces affect you. Again, back during the dot-com boom, everybody who met me went, wow, you're on the 5-year retirement track. I was the man. And then a couple years later, I got laid off of pizza delivery. Yeah. Macro forces, right? On the other hand, right, when I started my consulting company, I didn't really start a consulting company. I just put up pull tab signs so I could buy some decent beer. And in no time at all, I was making a lot of money. All right, macro forces. And then the Great Recession happened, and customers that I had had for years wouldn't even return my phone calls. Macro happens, right? That's the important thing to understand, is these macro events, things that are completely outside of your control, really affect you. And so one of the interesting things with this is Elon Musk is so tied to the modern concept of the technology world. Again, what happens when he falls? And beyond just from psychological or whatever motivational points of view, things like Starlink, right? So SpaceX launches the Starlink satellites. Starlink is connecting, disparate points on the world to the internet in ways they simply were not able to be connected before. So you have a lot of places, you have a lot of people in the world that are being able to get connected to the internet to get all the values the internet has to offer. What happens if SpaceX tanks? Right, this is actually a practical question there. Again, I mean, it's just interesting to think about. XAI, right? So he's pushing forward XAI. So again, artificial intelligence, blah, 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 bullshit. But here's something to think about, right? So there's this demand for NVIDIA GPUs, right? The idea is that AI is the most dangerous thing since nuclear weapons. Bullshit. Anyways, so he's buying like hundreds of thousands of these GPUs. The Blackwell GPUs, I think, cost like about $40,000 a pop. Hundreds of thousands of these things. Building data center in Memphis, the major data center in Memphis, the whole 9 yards. Here's a question. What happens if Elon Musk goes to jail? Like literally, what happens to XAI? What happens to NVIDIA if literally XAI goes belly up or they simply stop buying GPU processors? How do those dominoes fall for the entire tech industry? Does that make people rethink where AI is going and all that kind of stuff? And so that's why Elon Musk is actually pretty significant in our modern world. Again, one of the big arguments I've had for a while is my frustration with a lot of the big tech companies nowadays, not necessarily the big tech companies themselves, but the people who lead the big tech companies and how they are seen as integral to the company. Again, for a lot of companies, CEOs come and CEOs go. That's just how it is, right? With companies such as Facebook or Snapchat or, again, Tesla, XAI, that type of thing, the leadership, the CEO is considered the value proposition. One of the big arguments they've talked about for the board not firing Elon Musk is literally if Elon Musk was fired, the value of Tesla would probably get halved in a day. That so much of the value of Tesla itself is wrapped up in Elon Musk, right? People support Elon Musk. I have a buddy of mine who bought a Cybertruck when they first came out. And I asked him why, because it looked like a pretty shitty truck. It's like a really big truck. It's a pretty shitty truck. Again, whatever. And the guy literally said, he's like, well, Eli, I'm not really sure how good the Cybertruck is going to be, but, Elon Musk really pushes the limit. He really pushes the limits. He really does new things. And I want to support that. Now, again, I know if you're 18 years old, putting $100,000 on the table to support somebody might sound a little bit weird, but there are a lot of those folks out there, again, especially in the technology world, where it is a vote. Like, I may not even like the Cybertruck a lot, but I'll put $100,000 down just as a vote for Elon Musk. This is one of the arguments I've made for years. Again, that's been very fascinating with Tesla. Not that Tesla should not be valuable, just that it shouldn't be as valuable as every other car company in the world combined, right? And that so much of that value proposition is based around the cult of personality, the concept of where Tesla is moving the world versus the products that Tesla is actually creating. You don't buy a share of Tesla so that you can have equity in a car company. That would be stupid. You're buying a share of Tesla so that you have equity in the future. And again, one of the curious things that I find with Tesla nowadays, as they move away from the whole car company thing, again, it's that whole story. Again, with branding and advertising in the modern world, is this idea of lifestyle brands. So the lifestyle brand of Tesla used to be utopia. Right? Again, you're not buying a car, you're not buying equity in a car company, you're buying a piece of the future. We know ICE, we know internal combustion engine vehicles are the major drivers of climate change. Anyways, we know climate change is going to destroy the world. Ergo, when you invest in Tesla, you are saving the world. That's a hell of a story. That's a hell of a story. Again, one of the questions that I've had is that they're now shifting the story. Eli, it's stupid. It's not a car company. It's an AI company. But again, if you look at what the story of AI is that basically robots and computers are going to take your job. And that you're going to be starving. And if they don't come up with UBI, human civilization will end. Like, think about that for a second with Tesla. Just think about that for a second. Like, Tesla's story, the lifestyle brand of Tesla used to be, you are investing in a brighter future. That's literally what the story was. They've now changed the story to you are investing literally into dystopia. Anyways, right? I question the value of all this. And especially putting Elon Musk in the middle. Again, what happens when Elon Musk loses his crap? And when I say that, I'm actually not trying to be too snarky there. Again, Elon Musk he's done some curious things, but take that out of it. Just the standard thing. Again, as I always talk about, that phrase from that Mull and Jessup I talk about every once in a while, right? I saw the greatest minds of my generation, cold, shivering, naked, in the dawn of a new age, right? And so, Elon Musk has been doing this thing since the 90s. The 90s was 30 years ago. I mean, isn't it just simply reasonable that right? The greatest mind of a generation will not be the greatest mind of the next generation. And so if you don't have the ability to pass on to the next generation, what happens to the companies and everything that's been built up? Again, what happens if he has a heart attack? What if he just has a stroke? Again, let's not go into ketamine or whatever, any of that kind of stuff. What if the motherfucker just strokes out? Again, the 19-year-olds out there, I think it's really cool when he talks about working 120 hours a week, sleeping on the floor. When you're 19 and you see a 50-some-odd-year-old guy saying, yeah, I'm going to work 120 hours a week and sleep on the floor, that only seems cool to people that have not won the poop in the box lottery. That's right, motherfuckers. I get to poop in a box this year. And you're like, what does that mean? If you don't know what that means, don't worry about it. Here's the deal. I'm literally almost 49. I'm almost 49. Of course, then getting close to 50. You know, you just can't quite do what you used to do. Again, it's fun. I ran 5 miles this morning. I run 9 miles like every other day. I'm doing a half marathon. Sunday, I'm doing a half marathon. Here's the interesting thing. Like, I have Nike Run Plus, Nike Plus or whatever. I have those stats that go back to something like 2009. I have those stats that go back 16 years, documented in digital format, what I did. It's like, wow. Yeah, I remember doing that. Like, I remember that I had those run times. Those are not the run times I have anymore. Why? Time. Right? Anyways, and so again, an interesting question with him working 120 hours a week, sleeping on floors and all that kind of stuff. What happens to Tesla? What happens to SpaceX? What happens to XAI? What happens to Neuralink? What happens to the Boring Company? What happens to whatever the hell else he's running? When he just strokes the hell out. We have a family member that stroked the hell out at 32. So you think that's a snarky joke? Nope. There is nothing quite like seeing a 32-year-old after they've stroked out and be like, wow, okay, life can be worse. Anyways, right? So we have there's one central figure that is responsible for all of these different companies. And again, the question that I brought up for a long time is what happens if something happens to that central figure? What happens, if he strokes out? What happens if he loses his mind? What happens if he gets deported? That's one of the latest things. So basically, this whole thing blew up between Trump and Elon Musk. And basically, Elon Musk went into the Doge. He did a massive amount of damage to the federal government with very little value. I mean, he went in there and just destroyed the utility of the federal government. And for that, we're saving pennies that are probably going to cost us dollar bills later. So anyways, he gets out, he leaves Doge, and then Trump is trying to push through this big, beautiful spending bill. And basically, this big, beautiful spending bill, after all this work with Doge in order to reduce the spending of the federal government, is going to jack up the borrowing of the federal government. We are literally, under the Trump administration, we are going to have a less effective federal government with a higher deficit. Because again, remember, Trump does have a lot of experience with business, mainly bankrupting them. Right. So anyways, so Elon Musk has come out against this big, beautiful spending bill, and now a lot of people are losing their minds. Again, so Trump is now against him. An interesting thing with Steve Bannon, again, the curious thing when you start using weapons, those weapons can be used against you. Steve Bannon now has come out and said, well, since Elon Musk was basically doing his business originally under an incorrect visa. So he came here like as under a student visa, and that's how he created his business. Basically, that should invalidate his citizenship to the United States. Like Steve Bannon is literally pushing the argument that Elon Musk should be deported. This is the world that Trump has created. This is the world under the Trump administration. Again, what happens when the CEO of Tesla and SpaceX and everything else gets deported? Anyways, of course, this is hitting Tesla stock. So Tesla stock is down, is now up a little bit, but over the 5 days, it is down 13%. Because now he is no longer the apple of Trump's eye. If we go over and take a look at Trump's Truth Social, again, the one nice reason for allowing politicians to be on social media is you get to see what they actually have to say, no matter how crazy this is. So this is Trump's Truth Social. So I'll do Trump's Truth Social, and then I'll do Elon Musk's X, because this just gets too confusing. So 20 hours ago from when I'm recording this, June 6th, Friday, 20 hours ago. So this is from Donald J. Trump. Elon was, quote, wearing thin. I asked him to leave. I took away his EV mandate that forced everyone to buy electric cars that nobody else wanted, that he knew for months I was going to do, and he just went crazy. Because again, this is a thing that Trump always does. If you disagree with Trump, he calls you crazy. Which, I don't know, is this still working anymore? And so what's curious about this now is the idea that Elon Musk basically, again, he was already on his way out. I did a video earlier talking about this where I was concerned about Elon Musk's reputation and, again, the damage that could be caused, where we started to see reports about drug use and possible illegal drug use by Elon Musk during the Trump campaign. Then they came out with a picture of him having a black eye. Apparently his kid hit him in the face because Elon Musk told him to or whatever. And again, think about this, right? It's the optics. It's changing the story, right? We have always been at war with China. Elon Musk has always been crazy. Right? It's changed. It's slowly doing that shift, right? And so we go from Elon Musk being this amazing, great, wonderful person to, okay, he's a drug user. You know, he comes in with a black eye. He looks like a meth addict. Now they start talking about, well, his time was wearing thin. He's actually crazy. Look at how they're trying to denigrate his reputation. And I'll be curious where that goes from here. Then 20 hours ago in another post, the easiest way to save money in our budget, billions and billions of dollars, is to terminate Elon's governmental subsidies and contracts. I was always surprised that Biden didn't do it. And again, you look at this, and again, one of the ironies of Doge is that Elon Musk's wealth, at least at this point in time, is built on government largesse, right? Basically, the loans that Musk and Tesla were given many years ago were able to get them so they could ramp up Tesla. The EV mandates, remember, they get hundreds of millions of dollars a year in fees from the other auto manufacturers, because through the miles per gallon and that kind of rules that we have in the United States, you either have to produce a fleet of vehicles that meet those marks, or basically you have to pay somebody else who creates a fleet of vehicles that hits those marks. So since Tesla, all their vehicles are electric, they have no emissions, ergo they get to sell a lot of these EV credits to other companies. Again, those are worth hundreds of millions of dollars, but that is a requirement that was created out of thin air. This is not GM licensing the drivetrain of Tesla, right? That would be Tesla's intellectual property that somebody else was licensing. This is the government put a mandate onto these other manufacturers, forcing them to buy from Tesla, right? So Tesla gets a tremendous amount of money from government largesse. Again, one of the reasons that Doge was kind of funny. Again, if you look at SpaceX contracts, right? So SpaceX, the way they stay in business, they're not staying in business putting up Netflix satellites or whatever. They stay in business by putting up government and military satellites, right? And each one of those launches, are $100 some odd million, and that's what keeps SpaceX moving forward. Literally, Donald Trump right here is saying, why are we spending billions and billions and billions of dollars funding this crazy person? Oh, lordy. And that's before SpaceX for rural broadband initiatives, or Starlink is in there for rural broadband initiatives. So yeah, Donald Trump is putting on the table, what if we pulled all the funding that goes to Elon Musk? And again, the thing for you to be thinking about is, what if SpaceX folded? What if Starlink folded? What if, XAI or whatever folded? What if Twitter folded? These are real questions. Donald J. Trump, 18 hours ago. I don't mind Elon turning against me, but he should have done so months ago. This is one of the greatest bills ever presented to Congress. It's a record cut in expenses, $1.6 trillion, and the biggest tax cut ever given. If this bill doesn't pass, there will be a 68% tax increase and things far worse than that. I didn't create this mess. I'm just here to fix it. This puts our country on a path of greatness. Make America great again. So again, his garbage budget bill that's going to be devastating to the U.S. economy, but I'm sure it's going to put a lot of money in his pocket. Basically, what he's saying is, if Elon Musk didn't like this, he should have said something months ago. Again, how long this bill has been in the process, I do not know. And so basically, what you're seeing here is Donald Trump is lining up to basically try to destroy Elon Musk. Elon Musk then just, I don't know. Gets so weird. Again, if we go to X, if we go to Twitter, I will never see it as X. If we go to Twitter, we can look at Elon Musk stuffs on Twitter. So 20 hours ago, is it time to create a new political party in America that actually represents the 80% in the middle? So he asks that. Let's see here. For the thing, Elon was wearing thin. Elon Musk shoots back. Such an obvious lie. So sad. Let's see here. Then we go here. The easiest way for Donald Trump, saying the easiest way to save money is to stop paying Elon Musk. Elon Musk shoots back. In light of the president's statement about cancellation of my government contracts, SpaceX will begin decommissioning its Dragon spacecraft immediately. Oh, Lordy. Lordy. What has happened to my society? But think about this power. Think about this power. And again, the power being put into private hands. What would happen if Elon Musk literally decided to decommission the Dragon spacecraft? So the Dragon spacecraft are the crew spacecraft, get people up to the International Space Station and that type of thing. Basically, they're the only spacecraft we currently have. There's this Boeing, the Starliner. Boeing has something. That's a story for another day. But basically, the only way we have to get astronauts into space right now is through the Dragon spacecraft. And so now Elon Musk is basically threatening just to decommission those. Yeah. And then the final thing. Time to drop the really big bomb. Real Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. That is the real reason they have not been made public. Have a nice day, Donald J. Trump. Oh, Lordy. Oh, Lordy. So, yeah. This is currently happening. So, the guy that runs the largest, electric vehicle car company in the United States and runs SpaceX or owns SpaceX and does all these other things is in a pissing contest with the president of the United States. And, this is working out about the way you would figure it would work out. So I don't know. Honestly, I have no idea where this insanity goes, because like with these two people, it is so vital to both of these jackasses, these whiny ass little bitch babies trying to piss on themselves to show the world which one is the bigger alpha dog, right? Where does this go, right? Because Trump demands that you grovel and slobber over his ring. And if you don't grovel and slobber over his ring, he's going to hit you twice as hard, right? And that's the thing, right? He's not going to build a coalition. He's not going to use the institutions of our great nation. He's not going to do it. He's just going to hit you twice as hard, right? The only thing Trump seems to understand how to do is how to destroy, right? We are not getting new universities. We are not getting new hospitals. We are not diverting $4 billion in grants from Harvard to put that into vocational programs in the high school so that high schoolers can come out with the skills to get middle-class jobs, right? Trump does not build, he destroys, right? That's what we have been seeing over the past four and a half months at this point. So Elon Musk is not groveling and spitting and sputtering and begging for forgiveness. And so it seems like, okay, so Trump has to hit Elon Musk twice as hard. On the same hand, don't you know who Elon Musk is? Right? He's an alpha dog. He's not going to be hit by this president of the United States. He's going to do what he's going to do. And again, he has a tremendous amount of power within the private sector. Again, EVs, spacecraft, all this kind of stuff. So where does this move forward? Because think about that. What if Tesla collapsed? Right? Again, I own a Model Y. It's not a very good vehicle. Again, to be clear, there's a Model Y there and there's a plug-in Ford Escape there in my parking space. I drive the plug-in Ford Escape. My wife was away for 2 weeks. I never drove the Model Y. Right? It's not a very good car. It's just not. It may be a good computer, may have good technology. Like people are like, you don't understand what a good car is. Fine. I still like my plug-in Ford Escape. I just really do, right? Anyways, so you already have outdated cars. You have outdated cars. BYD is already producing superior vehicles. You already have a decrease in interest in electric vehicles in the United States, just on its own. Then you have Elon Musk has just pissed off a tremendous number of people in the United States and around the world that just don't want to have anything to do with anything that he touches, right? We already have that brand degradation. Now we have the president of the United States that looks like he may start personally attacking Elon Musk. Again, you have Steve Bannon come out. And again, normally I wouldn't bring this up because it would be so damn stupid. We're not at normal times. Again, Steve Bannon coming out with this whole thing, deport Elon Musk, looks a hell of a lot more possible now than any time in my fucking lifetime. I would have never even thought that was a possibility. It is a real possibility at this point. What happens if the CEO, a major shareholder for Tesla, gets deported? And then what happens to Tesla? And again, what happens to our overall economy? What happens to trust in our economy? If Elon Musk got deported and SpaceX goes to hell, right? It's really easy to laugh at Russia. Laughing at Russia is easy. Look what they did to their space sector. Are we about as close to that with our space sector? Again, with the AI stuff and everything else. I don't know where this goes. Again, I think we're in a bad situation in the United States. Now, I talk about that. I made the joke on one of my last videos. You know, is this what Europeans felt like 100 years ago? as their empires imploded. I really kind of think we're at that point with the United States. Again, you know, I put stuff. You know, you put stuff into the titles, be clickbait or whatever. But I really think Trump is going to put the nails in the coffin for our current form of our civilization. Because how do you move forward under this constant chaos and insanity? How do businesses make decisions? How do organization leaders make decisions? How do investors make decisions? There's so much other stuff going on too. Like this is I can barely keep up with all this stuff that's going on. And Trump has been in office in months, right? This isn't the end. This isn't when he was a lame duck president before and he started going after TikTok, right? We're 4 months into this. We're not even a year into his presidency, and we already have this level of abject insanity. And the Republicans, again, are pissing on themselves like big dogs because they want everybody to know that they're alphas. Again, they don't want to be human beings doing a damn job. They want to be alpha dogs. And let's be honest with you, I don't know what the hell the Democrats are doing. You'll notice here, I shit talk Trump a lot because he deserves to be shit. I don't actually shit talk Trump voters. I don't actually shit talk Trump voters very much. Because let's be honest with you, what the hell are the Democrats doing? Is there anything that the Democrats are putting on the table that, again, is a story about a better future? Again, I voted for Kamala Harris, but she was a shit candidate. She was an absolute trash, garbage candidate that insulted this entire country. I was just kind of more worried about this with Trump. And so that's the thing, right? If Trump is abject chaos, the Republican Party is pissing over themselves, pretending to be fucking dogs, and the Democrats are, nah. Where is the through line to a successful future for our country? And I don't know. I honestly don't know. And that's why it's so important to talk about that so much with stop worrying so much about the job and start looking at the work. Support the people around you. Support the people that you care about. Create things of value. Right? I remember this with, I had one of my professors back when I was getting my criminal justice degree. And he was from the inner city Baltimore. And he had gone from being in the inner city of Baltimore, became a state trooper, had gotten his PhD, worked for the FBI, the whole 9 yards. Anyways, when he was getting his PhD, he interviewed and he talked with a lot of folks that had come to the United States from other countries. And they were taxi drivers and owned convenience stores and all those types of things. And the interesting thing was, in their original countries, they had been doctors and they had been lawyers, and many of them had been very prominent and very well off in their previous countries. But their countries kind of blew up, so they come here, and now they're taxi drivers. That taxi driver, they may not know English, but they may also have their PhD. Anyways, one of the things he talked about, which is curious, again, with what's going on with Trump, is he said, again, this was in the 90s, he said, every benefit that we've received, he's an African-American guy, every benefit that we've gotten over the past 30 years can be taken away in the blink of an eye, right? If you have a job, if you have a title, simply because somebody can put you into that position, put you into that title, then it's always going to be precarious, right? Being a professor is precarious. Being the CEO is precarious. It can be taken away. Again, the SEC can ban you from ever being CEO of a company again. That's something that can actually happen. So the curious thing was, literally after he got his PhD, he then went out and got ASC certified. So ASC certification here in the United States is so you can work on cars. You can work on cars. Because he said with everything that he knew, if everything went to hell here in the United States, that basically, again, this is the 90s, not cars like we have nowadays. He was like, even if he got kicked out of his professor job, even if, right, as a black person, he was denigrated in society and all that kind of stuff again. Here's the thing. A member of the KKK still wants their transmission fixed at a reasonable price. Like that KKK member may not like my professor. The KKK member might not respect the professor. KKK member may want the professor to go, quote unquote, back home. But hey, if my professor can fix his transmission for 2/3 the price as Mako, right? KKK guys, well, again, it's options, it's priorities. And here's the thing, the money from the KKK guy is money that can feed the professor's kids, right? That's a hard lesson in life. And it's a real lesson. And I think that's one of the things to be thinking about now with the chaos that's being created by this administration, is to really think about that. If your position disappeared, if your title disappeared, what value can you provide others? Whereas even if they despise you to the core of their being, they will hand over cash in order to access what you're providing. Because that's what keeps your kids fed. So anyways, that is my thought about all this idiocy. I don't know what to say. They're speedrunning. Again, there's other stuff I want to talk about. I want to talk about quantum computers. Hey, the Chinese. Yeah, Chinese always good for clickbait. Anyways, they're creating entire data centers under the water for cooling proper reasons. I want to talk about that kind of stuff. There's a lot of interesting stuff that are going on, like in actual technology, I would like to talk about. But again, when I do these conversations with you folks, almost all the conversations are about jobs. Jobs. And I want to tell you, even getting a job during the best of times, even getting a job, let's say in 2018, again, it's a difficult, ugly, weird fucking process. It just is, especially getting your first job. But I'm trying to explain to you folks right now, the macro for it's sliding, right? It's sliding, the dominoes are starting to fall, and it is very difficult to understand where people's places are, right? I can teach you how to solve problems. I can teach you how to find problems to solve. I can teach you how to add value so that people will pay you more money. But the simple concept of how do I get a job. I want. You have to understand shit's going sideways. Remember that when, after I closed down my business, I was doing in-person training for a while. And the idea was like this apprenticeship program. So you come, you pay me money. I had all the equipment. I still had my building at the time. And that was the interesting thing. So it was like 2010, I guess, 2010. So it's theoretically after the recession, but it was still in the stupidity. And I literally had people call me and they said, can you guarantee me a job? And I just remember listening to this one woman and she asked me that question in 2010. And I was like, I can't guarantee you a job at McDonald's. Everything was just so topsy-turvy at that time. Like to say, can I guarantee you a job? I can't guarantee a computer job. I couldn't guarantee you getting a job making minimum wage flipping burgers, right? Everything's so fucking chaotic right now. And I feel like we're going back into that time period. We're not quite there yet, but we're getting there quickly. So anyways, those are my thoughts. What do you think about the Elon Musk Trump kerfuffle, let's call it. Oh, what do you think about Elon Musk dropping the Epstein bomb on Trump? What do you think about Trump saying that, well, he doesn't want to pay the billions of dollars to Elon Musk? Again, let's ignore all the employees. And again, that's the thing about Trump. He doesn't give a shit about anybody that he hurts. right? If you don't slobber on his ring, as long as you are hurt, he doesn't care who else is destroyed along the way. Again, we see this with Harvard, right? They're pulling Harvard's ability to have international students. 30% of the student base is international students. This is going to be devastating to Harvard. It's going to be devastating to the 30% of the students that are going to Harvard or plan to go to Harvard. It's going to be devastating for Harvard. It's going to be devastating for the other students. And he doesn't care. He doesn't give a damn how many people's lives are destroyed, as long as somebody blubbers and kisses his ring. And so think about the mentality. Look at what he's doing to Harvard right now, right? Again, $4 billion in grants revoked. Again, trying to destroy the international students being able to go there. Look at what he's doing there. And then imagine taking that depraved, insane mindset and going after Elon Musk. And think about how many people Musk touches. Again, Tesla, SpaceX, XAI, so many of these other things. Right? How many people is Trump willing to leave destitute just so he can prove that he's a fucking dog? And that's the time period we're in. So anyways, I don't know, how do we get out of this? If you know a Republican congressperson, metaphorically smack the ever-loving shit out of them and tell them they're not a fucking dog. Bad human being. Bad human being. Do your fucking job. Anyways, metaphorically speaking. So what do you think about this? What do you think about Elon Musk? What do you think about Trump? What do you think about this period of time? Oh, I don't know. Put your thoughts down below. Go drink a case of alcohol. Start looking at the immigration requirements for other countries. I don't know. You do you. Anyhow, see y'all later.